Welcome to the Coding Fanatic YouTube channel. I'm your host Richard. I'm a full stack Android developer with a focus on efficiency. So I look for the key values that are required for becoming a great software developer, and I take what I've learned around those things and I teach that to you. That sounds like information that you are interested in, then hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you can see when I upload new videos like this each week. So the whole point of this video is just to give you guys some thoughts on where I came from creating the Salesman's Travel app and pretty much what I'm doing moving forward. So to take it back, I started this project in early 2019. Now at the time, I just completed I've been coding on and off, so I decided to take on just look for a coding challenge online to just complete it, and I figure, it'll get my feet wet so I can get reacclimated to things. Well, I did the challenge, and once I was done, I thought, well, how could you turn this into a real life app? The whole point was to take a list of addresses and then allow you to sort the list based on the zip codes. So I'm thinking, well, what would be a practical use of this? What if you had an app that showed you a list and you type in the zip codes, it filters them out, and then it sorts them in that order? And I sat down, I planned it out, and said, okay, I want to build an app around this. Now, at this time, I'd already built a bunch of smaller apps and worked on little projects up to that point, but I never finished anything. Like, I never saw anything through to completion. Like, I would start little lists and do little gallery apps and things like that here and there, but nothing ever made it past my hard drive, because it was just, I want to work on this little thing, and I would play around, and then if it got too tough or I got bored, I would stop working on it. But this was the first time I said, I have an idea, I'm going to plan out the whole thing from beginning to end, and I'm going to work on it. And that's what I did. And now today, thanks to all that consistency over the last year and a half-ish, a little over a year and a half, I have this app on the Google Play Store. I set a goal every week. I said every single week I'm going to work on I'm going to make some change. I already know what I'm going to use. I wrote all the tickets out in Trello. I know what I have to do. But every week I'm going to do something, no matter how big or small. And there were some weeks where I would do huge changes, where I would work on a feature and really hammer it out. Or I would have a small week where I would do a simple bug fix, or I would look into a tutorial for something I needed to learn in order to finish my app. But the goal was keep working and keep publishing this content here on Coding Fanatic for people like viewers like you. If you are new to the field, maybe you just got out of college and you're just now getting into things, or maybe you're not sure if you want to do software development. But the goal was just to show people that if you remain consistent and you keep working, you keep at it, you can get there, you can finish it. And I'm the living, breathing proof of that. So that was the goal, and it was tough, but I made it through. Now, I finished the first version of the app, which was pretty much just to have two activities, one where I display a list and another one where you can actually sift through it. But I took it a step further and said I'm going to now add a backend using Firebase, and I learned how to use Firebase and set up a real-time database within an app, and I set it up. I added all the information that I wanted in the app, and I edited the logic of the app to pull that information from the backend instead. I said I wanted to put it on the Play Store. I did the research, I figured out what to do, and I fought tooth and nail, but I got it onto the Google Play Store. So throughout this whole process it started out just as a way to get back into coding, and it then turned into building a full app, then building a backend for the app, and even publishing the app to the Play Store. So I got a lot out of this experience. And the major lesson that I want to impart onto you is that don't wait for your employer. Do it yourself. Don't wait for your boss. Don't wait for a job to come around for you to learn new skills and to do things. Do it yourself, okay? There are a lot of companies out there, and some of those companies are a little older than some, and they have antiquated ideas on what makes a software developer. There are also newer companies, and they have some questionable ideas about what makes a software developer. But ultimately, you are the one who decides what kind of developer do I want to be, what skills do I need to get there, and then how do I obtain those skills. You don't need to land a job and follow after people and hope and pray that one day they'll see your value and they'll bring you on board for the exact position that you want, so that you can finally be you have accomplished the goal of becoming a developer. It doesn't work that way. It does not. Trust me. I've done it. I learned from other people. I learned from other developers who I saw on the internet. And frankly, to me, this is the better way for me. This is the better way to do it. And I hope that you're able to see the value in what I'm talking about here. If you want to become an iOS developer who builds iOS game developer, go learn Swift. Get your MacBook, learn Swift, and start building those games. Or Objective-C. I'm not an iOS developer, but go learn Objective-C, learn Swift, and get your MacBook and start building those games that you want to build. Don't wait for the next big gaming company to possibly consider you after 1,000,001 rejections, and then they finally hire. It's too much time. Take your time. Take the time that you have, any spare time you have in the day, either when you're on your lunch break at work or maybe when you get home, and take just a little bit of time each day. Find something that you can do consistently, and that will push you towards that goal. And just do it. I can't tell you how many times, like, I look back and I think about different high school professor or high school teachers, counselors, professors in college who fed me these ideas about what the software development industry would be like, about working remote, having your own schedule, working at your own pace, and doing, being able to, if you're not really a people person, you can stay at home and be away from people and this and that. And they sold me all these ideas about what it would be, about how you can live at your job, or you can, there's all these different things, different perks that come along with it. And after working in the industry for a short time, I realized, nope, it's not any different from when you worked at McDonald's, or when you push shopping carts at a grocery store or anything like that. It's the same. It's a job. But if you want to become a developer, that depends on you. Build your idea of what a developer is. What skills would you need? And then you chase that down and you do it. It's as simple as that. It's not easy, but it is simple. You just have to commit and be consistent. So I'm not, and don't take this as a knock against all companies, because there are some out there, such as codingfanatic, who give developers a shot, who actually want to bring people in and help them cultivate their skills so they can move up and get to whatever they want to be in terms of their skill set or their career or whatever. They're out there. Don't get it twisted. They do exist. But what I'm saying is, don't wait around for those companies. You can still look for them, but in the meantime, you need to invest in yourself. When I worked at I'm not going to say the food chain now, because I don't know, companies, people are so sensitive these days. But I used to wait tables when I was in college. And at one of the restaurants I worked at, there was this older woman that worked there. And I think she was probably like in her late 30s, early 40s. And she had one time I asked her just to borrow a pen real quick for a customer. And she gave me this, super fancy, this is not it, but she gave me this fancy fountain pen where you take the cap off and it's like that super sharp edge and stuff like that. And she had them lined up in her pocket. And she had notepads and all types of shit, man. It was crazy. And I'm like, damn, you bring all this to work as to wait tables? And she said, you gotta invest in yourself, anything you do. Simple as that. And I was like, wow, I should have bought these pens. No, that's not what I said. I really thought about it and was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Even as a waiter, she's putting her all into it and investing in herself, not for the sake of that company, not for the sake of the customers, but for herself, to say if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it right. So I'm going to come in a certain way, and I'm going to have the tools that I need. And that I took that with me. That was many years ago. I've taken that with me to this day. Even with software development, it's like, look, man, I want to invest in myself. You have to invest in yourself too, because these companies are not all out. They're not all out here for you. Let me put it that way. And I have some new content coming out soon where I go a little bit deeper into my experiences and something that takes away, moving away from the coding side, but just to talk about, working in the industry. But, that being said, I really hope that you guys got something out of this. Now that actually, I'm not even done yet. Why am I trying to wrap it up? Now that version 2.0 of the Salesman's travel app is complete, I'm done working on this app. And it's time for me to move on to something else. Namely, it's time for me to start learning Kotlin. Kotlin is the newest, or the language that's supported by Google right now, more so than Java. Not to say they don't support Java, but Kotlin is the front runner. And a lot of companies are asking that are looking for Android developers, are looking for someone who has Kotlin experience. In fact, I recently did a coding test for a company that I was looking at, and it was in Kotlin. So, it's everywhere. And I believe that I'd be remiss as a developer if I didn't at least dip my toe in the pool and learn some basics, just to have some baseline of skill. You never know when it might pop up. And that doesn't mean that I have to throw Java away or anything, but it's good you always want to be learning new skills as a developer. You don't want to stagnate and just stick to one specific thing that you're good at and ignore everything else. That doesn't mean that you should try to learn everything, but have something that you specialize in, but always be able to learn something new, because you never know when your specialization might need to change. You never know. Also, you might find that you like this new skill that you picked up better than the thing that you've been specializing in. You might find, you know what? Not that I don't want to do Java anymore, but I like Kotlin better, and I think this is the area that I want to work in now. Who knows? Give it a shot. You don't know, you never know what you might find. But yeah, that being said, my whole goal here at Coding Fanatic, I just want you guys to understand that, software development is more than just writing code. It's also working with people. Whether you're working remote or you're in an office, you're still associating with other human beings, and that can come with its share of obstacles as well. It's not always a bad thing. It can be good too, and I've made some really great connections working in the software development field. But and in fact, I've met some really close friends, people who I know I'm gonna know for the rest of my life. But that's not always the case. The very opposite is also true. And there are some people who are they bring a lot of unneeded energy into the work environment. And I was caught off guard coming into the industry because I had expectations that did not match what the reality of the industry. The same thing goes for any job, but I think that because of the knowledge barrier in software development, because of the fact that you have to have some sort of skill set or education, a very niche one, to get into the field, people have different expectations of their coworkers and of the companies. But in my experience, it's not that different from other jobs I've worked before I got into this industry. So that's one of my things, is I want to give you guys, put you on game so that you are aware of some of the pitfalls I fall into, and I want you to learn from my mistakes before you make the same mistakes I do. Ultimately, I want you to make new mistakes. Do things that other people have never done before. Don't repeat the same mistakes other people have made, namely me. So I will be sharing some of my stories and my war stories here in soon enough. And also, learning new skills just to stay abreast of changes, and you might find something that you're really with. And the last thing I want you guys to focus on is just being consistent, building those habits and sticking with them, no matter how big or small. Sometimes you're not going to feel like it, but you do it anyway, and you knock it out the park, even if it's just a few minutes a day. When I was studying for my A+ certification years ago, I said I would study an hour a day, and sometimes I would study maybe 15 minutes a day. But it took a little longer than I thought it would, but I still got it. A couple months longer, but I still got it. So that being said, be consistent, be aware, and always keep growing. So that being said, thanks again for tuning in to the Coding Fanatic YouTube channel. I'm your host, Richard. Head on over to codingfanatic.com and join the mailing list so you can have updates when I put out new videos like these and other content before anybody else. And also hit subscribe and turn on notifications so that you can obviously know when I upload new videos like this to the channel. But yeah, everyone be safe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.